Hey everyone, and welcome. As you know, I'm Amanda Steadman, and I'm in the middle of writing two books. Now, one of my friends, Krystal Hille, is an amazing book author herself and also helping other people write spectacular books. So I thought, why don't I ask us some really important questions for those of you out there that are also thinking about writing a book, or you've started one, you've not finished it, or you're halfway through, or you might even be through one and you don't know what to do with it next. So if you're along those lines and you are thinking about how I'm going to get it done, and there might be something holding you back, then Krystal is your girl. So Krystal, if it's okay to ask you some questions, but before we get stuck in, just tell everyone a little bit about who you are, how you got to where you are right now, and who you help.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amanda. I'm so excited to have a conversation where you can pick my brain and probably ask all the questions that so many people are wondering about when it comes to writing and publishing a book. So I got into this 4 years ago with a rich background in theater directing, tantra, running retreats, all about personal development, coaching, NLP. So I've done the lot, and the way this is all fitting together, I realized, whilst I had so many diverse careers, is that it's all about empowering people to be the best that they can be. And how a book helps that is by really figuring, well, who even am I? Like, if they haven't figured it out, a book can help you figure this out, because you have to, present yourself, and that transformation of becoming just a regular coach, for example, to becoming a thought leader and the go-to person because you now have a book, just like I have this book now, which I'm so excited about, which is all about helping authors navigate that inner journey of writing a book and where the road, overcoming the stumbling blocks.
And do you have a copy there, or what's the title?
Oh, the title is The Aligned Author, A Writer's Odyssey Towards Momentum and Mastery.
Which is kind of what we all need, right?
We
So,
do, not just in book writing, but in life it feels, right? But it kind of just normalizes the fact that life is a journey, that writing a book is a journey and an adventure, and there is unexpected tests and things that will happen, and that's very normal and natural, and we just need to find the tools and the right allies and mentors to help us get through it.
now I know there's all types of different people that write books, and I know that you work a lot with entrepreneurs. Why should entrepreneurs in particular take time to write a book, Krystal?
It's a really good question. Sometimes when I reach out on LinkedIn, they like, I had never thought about it. And I was like, but every business needs a book. The reason why you need a book, especially as an entrepreneur, is because I mean, it's the obvious. An author creates authority. It positions you as an expert in your field. It shows you that you're trustworthy, that you know your stuff. And it also brings clients closer to you, because when people read my book, or when they read a book that you've written in the past, we put our own stories into it. And the way I teach it is that we do it both strategically and intuitively. So people actually get to know the author, and that builds trust. So it warms up your audience. It also increases the probability that you will be on podcasts and create collaborations, because people know what you stand for and who you are.
And we also know how much work and effort goes into crystallizing our thoughts and getting a book not just done, but that whole cycle of what I put in it, the fear of putting it out there, what might people think. So we have to get over like imposter syndrome and fear of rejection, all those things to get past and that into the hands of people that need it. Now, I know one thing for me that I spent a lot of time on is choosing the title, because the title, in a very busy, information overloaded world, it's really important for us to choose the right topic and the right title for a book. Can you speak to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the title really, really is so important. So it has to be on brand. Ideally, a title should not be more than 3 words, and speak to the benefit. And then the subtitle, actually, the subtitle speaks to the benefit. So the title is the attention grabber. What can you say in 3 words that will grab somebody's attention? And then the subtitle is the thing that kind of explains the benefit of the book for the reader. So it took me a while to come up with the Odyssey. And initially it was quite boring. And then I thought, well, let's put some more metaphors into this. And there are different principles that you can draw on from marketing, how in copywriting, how to yay without boo, or let's make it metaphorical, let's make it poetic. But really, the biggest mistake I see people make is that saying, my journey into blah, blah, blah. So they make it all about themselves. Nobody on Amazon, and there's statistics around this, the numbers I have forgotten, but nobody is interested in your journey. They're interested how your journey can help them. So I think that's the really important shift that we need to make it for the reader. And then of course the title represents the topic that we're writing about, and how do you come up with that? And again, for me, it's a three-step process. One is look at what is the biggest problem that your clients face. And so for me, that was, well, initially I thought, well, they need to learn how to write. But then that felt so boring. So the second step is passion. You've got to have passion about what you write about, because it's a commitment, right? And that then also brings in your unique source. Like what's your unique angle that you can bring to a book topic. Those three things really create a powerful title. So it's the client's biggest problem. What are you passionate about? And what's your unique flavor that you're bringing to this topic? So for me, in The Aligned Author, having this rich background I was telling you about, I brought in a trauma-informed lens to why people sabotage their writing. Why do they start and not stop? And all the things you mentioned earlier, it's the imposter syndrome. Who am I to write this book? Normalizing it, understanding, well, why do we self-doubt? And why are there different motivators? We don't all doubt for the same reasons. So based on the attachment styles, we doubt for different reasons. And so I brought that in, which is a unique angle. Not only that, I brought embodiment in from Tantra and theater exercises to help us shift identity from a coach, a professional, into a thought leader. So that's my unique source. And the passion, well, I love empowering people. I love helping people finish what they start and overcome their self-sabotage. So that was for me a non-brainer. That's why I was passionate about it. That's why that's on every page coming through. My energy is coming into the page because I'm writing about something that I love. So that's a long answer about what about the title and what about the topic.
Well, again, it's very, these are very important points. And I know when I was writing mine, I was told by a mentor back then, it's always good to write the back cover first. Doesn't have to be perfect and doesn't have to be the exact thing that you end with, but sometimes it's good to start with the end in mind, just so you stay on track, because it's very easy to get so sidetracked, isn't it? And when people are writing the book, everyone is very busy writing a book, and you can go into overwhelm because there's so many things that you want to say. What's the best way to get started, Krystal?
Best way to get started is to make the decision to start. I think it's as simple as that. In a nutshell, because just like there's never the right time to have a child, there's never the right time to start writing a book. But as we all know, if there is a vacuum, life will fill it with something. So your life will always be full. But if you life is full when we get pregnant, and life gets full when we but there's a different, the priorities shift. So I think once you make that decision, it's about trusting that you will find the time, because the life, like the universe, everything, vacuums always get filled. So you will never have the time before you start. So you have to make the time, get creative. And I find that once you commit, it's a season in your life. It's not that you're going to be busy forever. So knowing that is good. Like for me, and also knowing yourself. Are you somebody who's very diligent and you can get up an hour earlier every morning and write for an hour? You may be, many are not, right? So I wasn't that either. I get up to do my exercise and my morning stuff, but having to do more than that, no. So I chose to do it over Christmas. So there was blocking, or you can just block out a week where you don't have meetings and get a real decent amount of chunk stuff done. If that doesn't work, maybe once you have a really clear outline, that, as you said, will take the overwhelm out. So you will always know exactly what comes next. And then maybe you have it in your mind and you say, okay, I'm going to sit down for half an hour and I'm going to get this section out, just one section. And so there's consistent progress every day. Like in the book, I have so many ideas of how we can do that based on who we are, our preferences. Like maybe you're a night owl, you can suddenly write 5 hours at night, but maybe not sustainable. So, but there are always ways. And I think the important thing to know is make the decision to start, understand why you're writing the book, that will keep you going, and understand also that there is no vacuum unless, and you always fill it with something, your time. And so why not fill it with this book when you make it a priority?
Now, building on from that, you're talking a little bit about kind of the process of getting it written and putting those checks and balances in place. So how does the process work generally, and what are the steps involved, Krystal?
Yeah, so many people don't even start because they don't have a clear picture of that, right? I find there's just so much overwhelmed, so much to think about. So I think the first thing you need to know is like it's the idea, it's the topic, what we've just been talking about. Once you know that, you can create an outline. Once you planned everything, you need to figure out how will it serve my business? What will I use it for? Is it going to be a lead magnet? Is it going to be an audience building? How am I going to use that book? And based on that planning and that end outcome, you kind of reverse engineer and put into the book what you want to have in there. So the planning is really important, and I can do a whole workshop, and I do a whole workshop on from idea to outline. But that's the first step. The second step is writing the book. And I think the key tip here, top tip, don't edit and write at the same time. So there's many people who make the mistake. They're kind of sitting there, it's like, oh no, that sentence isn't quite perfect. I don't, that perfectionism comes in, but they're we're using two separate brains. One needs the right side, the creative side, and the other one needs the more intellectual side to edit. And if we do it at the same time, it's like putting one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brakes at the same time. It creates a lot of energy, wasted energy, and we're getting nowhere fast. In fact, we're burning ourselves out. So,
I've
so
been there,
that's
done that.
yeah, top tip. And it's very easy. And there are exercises and tools that I have to avoid that from happening. But I think it's our perfectionism, our need to get it right, that keeps wanting us to just that little sentence. It's like, no, just get it out. So that's the first step. You get it out, then you self-edit, then you look at, okay, have I spoken too much, too little? You go self-edit. You might be even read it out loud, and then you give it to a professional. You might give it to beta readers, to some friends, or actually don't give it to friends, give it to ideal clients, because they're the ones who need to understand it. Your friends may not know, and they will give you really maybe not the best feedback. Give it to people who you know are your ideal clients for some feedback. Does it make sense? Is it engaging? You can also come to somebody like me and get a professional manuscript assessment done, where you get feedback on the flow, on areas where you're speaking about it too long or too short, where it doesn't make sense, making sure that the transitions are clear. All of that is part of an assessment. And then you rework based on that feedback. And then it goes into editing. So there's different levels of editing. There's developmental, line editing, copy editing, and finally proofreading. So once that editing phase is done, so we've got planning, writing, editing, then it goes into publishing and marketing. And usually like marketing comes first. You need to figure out, what is my marketing plan? How am I going to bring this out? What do I want to do? What offers in my book program, what offers and programs does it lead into in my business? And the publishing path, well, there's DIY. You do it your best, try and educate yourself and hope for the best. And there is traditional publishing, where you need a publicist, you need to do a 50 to 80 page proposal, you have to have 10,000 minimum followers, because part of that proposal is a marketing plan. So there's a lot of work that goes into it before you potentially may be considered. But unless you have, I don't know, Amanda, what do you think? Is it like 10, is it 10,000, 100,000, 50,000? Like, it's a lot.
It's something like that. Yeah, they're getting more picky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they need to make their money, and they're making their money from their sales, but they don't have the audience. You have the audience. So unless they know that you have the audience to sell that money and make them their money back, plus give you some money, they're not going to consider somebody. So that's why the hybrid publishing industry has emerged, as well as self-publishing services. they're kind of similar, except hybrid publishers have gotten a little bit of a bad name because they apparently there are a lot of those charge a lot upfront but don't do good services. So I've come into saying I provide publishing services now rather than that I'm a hybrid publisher. And that distinction came in very recently as I heard more and more nightmares about hybrid publishing scams. So I no longer associate or identify as that. But that basically means that you get professional support on the interior layout, the formatting, which has to follow certain standards in order to look like a professional book. You get the help with the cover design, again, which follows certain principles that you need to know and certain feedback you need to give somebody to make it look good, as well as the whole uploading keywords, metadata, back of the book description that has to have keywords in it. And all of that is part of the publishing process. And then, of course, marketing, there's a whole other category, and there's so much in there that is not necessarily my area of expertise. I have collaborators that I work with, depending on what somebody wants to do and achieve with their book.
Yeah, just with the publishing as well, even when I published my first book back in 2013, and there was a lot of those kind of publishers about, but primarily some of the big ones. And I was getting emails as soon as my book went live onto Amazon. I was getting emails saying, we want to, and it was like $10,000 up front. And there was very little in the contract about what they would actually guarantee. And they were very happy to take a large chunk of money off you and also take a large chunk of the royalties. And I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but I like freedom and I like to be my own boss. So I went down the self-publishing route myself, but I know there are some good ones out there. And even some of the bigger houses that are looking at people that have a very, like you said, if people have got their own angle on things and it's different and it's fresh, then you've got more, a hope with a publisher. But if it's like how I learned to play tennis, then you're going to have a little bit of an uphill battle unless you're Serena Williams or one of those big names.
Yes.
It has to be a fresh thing. It has to be fresh and buzzy for it to stick out, because there's a lot of people churning out, I have to say it, not so great books. It's more, burn it and churn it. And that's not that. I don't think the longevity is there. And I think for me, it's a legacy thing. So for those of you that want to leave something behind, I think for me, I know I've got 3 books and one I wrote with my children. So I think it's important for those of you that are still thinking about it. Now is always a good time. It's never too late to start, and now is a good time to just start. And there's so much information out there, and it's always good to have someone like Krystal to guide you, because we do need a human there that has the experience and can guide you on what is good, what is not, because a lot of information out there is incorrect. So you have to be careful who you listen to, and it's always good to have someone that's done it, been there and helped other people, and check them out and look, hey, what books have they done? So I think that's also really helpful.
Absolutely, yes. And the emotional journey is not to be underestimated. Like, I'm working with a lady at the moment who is getting her book out, and I won't name her name, but she currently has an eye infection. Like, it's everything. It's like it's a real birthing process. And to just have somebody there who's done it like 20 times, who knows exactly, yeah, we're behind schedule, but we're still going to be okay. That reassurance and just helping through those little insecurities that are coming up as we are stepping out into being a lot more visible. That's what that's what's there when you have a human doing it hand in hand with you. And that's one of my superpowers, I think, just holding somebody along, like being that doula, holding them along that journey of actually getting their book out.
And I would also second that. As I was going through, it's funny because I had a real problem with my left foot when I was about to launch my. For those of you that do get to the, your body has a way of just going, oh, fear of rejection, imposter syndrome, all those things manifest. So it's really good to have someone like Krystal to go, that's normal, don't worry. Move through it. We'll move through it together. And, there's a reason why you felt compelled to get this message out there. And so especially when you're about to launch, you've got to feel the fear anyway and get it out there. And it's great to be in the space that Krystal creates, because she has other authors going through exactly the same thing. And you know how to get the answers and to get it out there, because that's what it's about. And I also think we all have that message. And I think with the information that you provide as well, Krystal, you're very good at getting people to crystallize on what is their main message. What is the one thing, if, the one thing, the book, the one thing, the message is the one thing. So it's really good to crystallize what's that one message, that way you want people to remember you. And I know that you're exceptionally good at teasing that out of people and making sure that it is very clear in their book and their book path how they're going to do that and succeed. So all of that advice has been absolutely amazing. Is there anything else that you would like to add for someone that's kind of sitting on the fence, still thinking about it, but really they just want that extra nudge to move forward? What would you say to them?
If you're thinking about doing it, if that nudge is there, it's there for a reason. Because otherwise, you wouldn't even have gotten as far into this conversation as you have. So I think it's really about just do it. Just take the first step. It is broken down into tiny steps, right? We don't need to see the end result just yet. We just need to take the first step. Just like, who says the thing about taking the first step on a ladder? What's that quote? Is it, you
I
don't.
forgot. I know what you mean.
But yeah, as we're climbing up the ladder, we're seeing more and more and more and more will be revealed. So you don't need to even know your entire book outline. You just need to have that knowing this is what's calling me. This is what wants to move, be expressed through me, and then start from there and just get started.
And what's the first step that they could take with you, Krystal, if they're just kind of
I think just
peeking their
just
head over
reach
the...
out, book a call, let's have a conversation. Let's see if it's aligned, if you feel like I can help you, and like just have a chat.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much. I know that there's a lot more questions that I have for you, but for today, we'll leave it at that. And if anybody else has any specific questions for Krystal, do reach out. I know that she'll be able to help you. So thank you again for helping us all get our message out there and move everyone along, because we all need that nudge. We all need that space to be able to get through those fears, because it is an emotional journey. And also we want it to be professional. We want it to be edited properly. And we want super duper amazing, eye-catching covers that inspire people to read our words. So thank you for everything, Krystal. We look forward to continuing to work together, and we'll see everybody else again soon.
Thanks, Amanda. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.